can't do push-ups right now because of my like big ass scar. I can't do any upper body stuff. I will next week. Oh no, that's like Christmas.
Shit. My fucking mic wasn't on. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Attempts at Governance, episode 193. We got a banger this week for you. Back with a Polkadot focused episode and an amazing group of people here on the chat. Just so you know, this is the last episode of the year because we are going to take a little bit of a holiday break to reflect on governance. That's next Monday's show, next Thursday's show, and the following Monday's show. We're all going to be off the air, but back with a vengeance on January 2nd with another Polkadot episode. We are going to dive right into the state of the treasury. Let's get going here with a very nice looking treasury. This week up 50,000 dot, which is worth $370,215 at today's market value. Brings the treasury to about 28,390,000 dot. USDC looking good as well. Remember, we have an erroneous 1.5 million USDC here, but we are up 1.56 million USDC from this time last week, bringing the treasury to 7.86 million USDC and up 90,000 USDT, bringing the treasury to 9.51 USDT. That's the state of the treasury, and very happy to welcome back Funky for the state of the funk.
Thanks so much, Jay. The state of the funk is beyond bullish. So, as you know, I was just with my side project with the ARC Education Initiative. I got to go to the Blockchain Association Summit. It was the third annual summit in Washington, D.C. All the top dogs. I'm talking Senator Tim Scott, Representative McHenry, who's on his way out, French Hill. I mean, this talking about big policy changes that are coming. The continued use of America being the crypto capital of the world. We are going to see a major shift in policy here in the United States. We're going to see America try and lead this industry. I think this really only bodes tremendously well for the entire Web3 space, but especially for our efforts, thanks to James and just other people, Andrew, right? Like trying to bring Polkadot notice to the United States, right? Largest capital market with these tremendous political tailwinds coming our way. There's a lot of great things that we could be doing, including I think the Web3 Foundation and Parity should definitely join Blockchain Association, be a leader in many of those conversations as well.
Awesome stuff, Funky. Thank you for repping us over there, and I hope you had a good time as well. Looks like a lot of hard work was done, and you met a lot of great people. I saw what was it? Trump had a little message for you guys too. What was that all about?
It was so right at the beginning of the first night when there was a dinner, there was a 36-second message for the Blockchain Association and its members kind of thanking crypto, right? It's no secret that crypto basically won this election. I think there was well over $140 million by Fairshake, which is not directly connected to Blockchain Association, but that was the PAC that was pouring in tens of millions of dollars in certain campaigns, especially to defeat Sherrod Brown in Ohio, for instance, and many others to elect a lot of, I think there were a total of between House and Senate, 53 new pro crypto people elected in this most recent election cycle. So, I mean, it was a lot of money spent. And he was acknowledging that crypto is a huge issue here in the United States, and many people were one issue voters on this. And immediately on the heels of that, and I'm sure many of you have seen his face, Majority Whip Tom Emmer from Minnesota. He has been he won the Crypto Champion Award, and he gave an amazing speech. I was so starstruck, I didn't even have the presence of mind to try and record it. I got like the last 5 seconds. I was like, man, this speech was so good. I should have recorded the whole thing. But yeah, just excellent event all around.
That's phenomenal. Well, thanks very much again, Funky. And with all these regulatory changes coming up, I feel like we should get more into regulation on the channel here. Maybe a a weekly or a monthly show or something like that. Something we could think about. But thanks very much, Funky, for inspiring us there. Let's move over to Limo for referenda gone by.
Thank you very much. There is only 6 refs this week. I guess we're dying down on the number of refs at the holiday period. So the first one is Crystal Intelligence on the Big Spender track, referendum 1270. This was rejected, but it was for 1.38 million USDC for the Crystal Intelligence blockchain proposal. And this was one of those like transaction monitoring and data analytics platforms that we had quite a few of come through OpenGov. Then we've got the boys from EZA on the medium spinner track, ref 1314. This was approved, and it is for 393,000 USDC for the EZA with Polkadot in-person hackathons and in-app Polkadot 2.0 crash course. So congrats to the Kwok brothers there. Then we've got one from the Q Sumerian that we did speak about on Monday on the medium spinner track, ref 1303. This was approved, but the pre-image was pulled before it was executed, so this will stay as approved on like Subsquare and not executed. This won't be paid out, and everybody should go vote on referendum 1353, which is the correct one to vote on now. And then we've got Encode Club X Polkadot, ref 1312. This was approved as well, and it's for 128,000 USDT for the Encode and Polkadot educational courses, etc. I think this is like their 4th referendum or something through OpenGov. Then we have Mimir, the multi-sig solution, ref 1305. This was also approved, and it's for 135,000 USDT for Mimir 2.0 multi-sig operation and proxy support. So congrats to the Mimir team. And finally, we have Dennis, ref 1289. This was rejected, and it was for 300,000 USDT for the Fuel Arts X Bit Basil Creative Tech Accelerator for Polkadot. Not a lot of support on that one. Let's see if they come back with an updated referendum. And that's all the refs this week.
Well, thanks very much for sharing that, Limo. Hey, speaking of this Bit Basil proposal here, James, did you want to say anything about this? Because I know you were connected to this, didn't get the support you were looking for, obviously, but is there a way forward here, or what did you learn?
Yeah, so we had a lot of good conversations with a lot of the DVs, and I think we understand the changes that we need to make. So we're going to be back early next year with an additional attempt.
Great, good to see. Thank you very much. And yeah, as Limo said, we discussed the tragic Kusumarian error. All my faults, very shameful, but we had the wrong address there in the as the beneficiary. And this new ref here, 1353, to ratify that approved payout. You can vote on this, and the more votes that come in, the sooner it will conclude. So we really do appreciate votes in there. I think even if you vote nay on this, it would help it along. So do participate, and we'd appreciate that.
Don't vote nay. It doesn't help support. Don't vote nay. Vote
Nay doesn't
abstain.
help support?
No, it doesn't.
All right, forget that then. All right, coming on the I side hard there. Does abstain also doesn't help support?
No, abstain does. Abstain was added after in like the first OpenGov patch, so people could help the support without affecting the ayes versus nays.
Ah, that's interesting. Why do you think nay doesn't help support?
Because somebody coded it that way. I mean, voting nay if it like made it faster, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah,
Because
good point.
you wouldn't want it to like execute faster, right?
Yeah, no, that's good to know. Robert.
Yeah, basically what Limo said, like if you had something that was like a very bad idea and like everyone neighbored, so this would then like if somebody managed to like exceed that, that would accelerate it exactly.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right, guys, thank you very much. All right, so an aye and an abstain over there would help us very much. We're going to roll right into the refs to discuss today. This is a medium spender to set up a new bounty. This is by the good folks at Amfork, a Polkadot legal bounty. And this just opened up fresh 5 hours ago. We have Tugi and Ra on the show, I think. Yeah, guys, welcome. What's going on here?
Hi, Jay. Actually, we also have Johnny on the call, who is our also a co-founder of Mfork, and he's the one with all the legal expertise.
Johnny, welcome to the show. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the AAG stage. What's going on here? 1359. You're muted there, mate.
Thank you, Jay.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. If it's fine, I just will give a short overview about the legal bounty that you can have a little bit better idea. Well, I'm Gianni Porpiglia, as we already had. I'm a Swiss lawyer and also co-founder of mFork. And thank you very much for the opportunity to present you today the legal bounty. The idea has been around for quite some time. It was always, if you want to develop something, if you want to do something on the Polkadot ecosystem, you should be focused on your project. You should not be distracted by legal issues. Nevertheless, legal issues are important and you have to bear them in mind. And so the idea was, how can we make legal support as accessible as possible, as easy as possible, accessible for teams and projects on in the Polkadot ecosystem. And with this legal bounty, we would like to ensure that teams and projects on the in the Polkadot ecosystem can get very easily and effective legal support. It should be uncomplicated for them. Nevertheless, it should be very effective, that they only have to think about things that are important for them. And it's also important that it's not just based for Switzerland, even though we're in Switzerland, but everyone around the globe can have this legal support if needed and if wanted. We would focus on general legal issues. We also would go to IP law, such as trademark issues. We would also help with contract and corporate law, with supervisory and regulatory issues. They are always important in the crypto area. And yeah, then it should not only be tailor-made legal advice. We would also create templates. So if someone needs an NDA or a SAFT, that he knows, oh, it's very easy, I can find it here. There will be comments on that so that I can do it on my own. I do not have to wait until someone gives me something. It is already there. It is prepared. And if there are questions, we're happy to help. So just a few words about the costs. There will be no upfront payment. It will be just end of month retroactive payments based on a time spent basis. The teams will get packages of hours. So on a step-by-step basis, just to ensure that not just all the hours will go to a few projects, but that the whole community, if they're eligible, can have this assistance and help. And yeah, finally, every invoice will be checked by the curators. So in short, the goal of the legal bounty is just to make legal life for projects and teams on Polkadot easier, and with that said, that we are more attractive to get new projects, and even for the existing ones, that they get help if they want it. Hope this helped a little bit, and yeah, I don't know if there are questions, but happy to answer.
Great, thank you, Johnny. Yes, Mario, let's start with you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a question or a remark. First of all, I do think that legal advice is needed. I see this happening for startups, whatever. I think there is absolutely something to say about this. The question I have, but I look at other people as well, Limo and Tommy, for instance, is this the right way to do it? And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you do a bounty, for me, it looks like, okay, it would cover legal costs, but I, as a community, can, look for the best lawyer that I want. And this is a little bit what I feel is, imagine that I would do a development bounty. And all the people that go via the bounty, they need to go via me because I'm the development company itself. It looks a little bit strange to me, to be honest, if I look at that. And then the amount, I don't understand why it's huge, but you also do a kind of vetted dot in there. It's also a little bit strange to me. So you have a huge hourly rate. It goes up to 290 Swiss franc, and then you stake also the dot. I don't know, something strange for me. So why only one legal company, and why the amount and the vested dot?
Can I answer this?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Hi, thank you, Maro. It's a very good question, and we really thought about this. This is not just one law firm, because this wouldn't work. It's just, we are more or less like a single point of contact so that you do not get lost. And the idea behind this is that most of the projects have the same questions. And if every project goes on its own, then you always go to a lawyer. You have them explain what Polkadot is, and then you say, what kind of structure would you advise me? Shall I take an LLC? Shall I do it on my own? Shall I do it limited? And how it's about taxes, and how is VAT if I have stake, and how is about my trademark? So normally it's always the same question. And what we would like to have, it's just that we can do a know-how basis, because it would be available to everyone with the templates and with what we learn, so that we can help very fast and very efficient. So, but if you aren't happy with us, and this is part of the legal bounty, we go to top tier law firms. We have to, if you go to Asia, if you go to the United States, we cannot cover this, but we always, everywhere have strong partners, so that we get the services on a very good price, and we always try to get one, or if possible, one of the best lawyers. That's maybe for the first question. The second part about the costs, we made a little bit of mix. And first, for me, it's, I don't know who has experience with this. It really depends the costs of a law firm on the jurisdiction. If you're in the UK, if you're in the United States, it's very expensive. Switzerland is maybe a little bit above average. And at the current prices, the hourly rates start, if we all take in Swiss francs, with 150 Swiss francs an hour to 450, more or less. This is compared with the hourly rates in Switzerland, very low. And you always get top tier advice. That's what we want to focus on.
All right. I think, look, we have a lot of hands up, and I think it would be good to honor them, but everybody asking questions, let's please keep the questions very short. And Gianni, let's keep the answers very short, and we can go into more detail in comments. But let's go to Raul.
Yes, hi, thank you. My question is if you could talk a bit about what the requirements are for projects to apply. So what conditions do you need to fulfill? If you distinguish between common good projects or projects that, I don't know, got a token issuance and then funding on their own. And I'm not sure if you have a list of legal firms that can help these projects, or you go with the firm that let's say the beneficiary prefers, and then what is the deal here with liability insurance and advice by legal?
Thank you very much. First thing is that just that I got the question. First thing was about the law firms. Am I right?
First thing was about what are the requirements, the conditions the applicants need to fulfill.
It's everyone that is beneficial to the Polkadot ecosystem. That's the short answer. We have curators for that. It must be really beneficial for a Polkadot ecosystem, because you do not want to finance someone that develops something on another blockchain. Then with the law firms, yes, we have a list. It's Hengeler Müller for Germany, it's Goodwin Procter for the United States, and so on. And yeah, I hope that was short enough.
Okay, good. Limo next, real quick.
Yeah, Raul took one of my questions, so here's the other one. What happens if the project like pivots away from Polkadot? Are they like legally in like a contract with us that they can't just pivot to another ecosystem, for example?
Yes, there will be a mandate agreement, but it's like real life. If they close the company, you cannot get the money back. So that will be a mandate agreement for kind some of prevention, but it will not work in any case.
And Robert.
I just wanted to comment on your legal costs that you're quoting in your full proposal of that starts at 120 francs up to 290 plus those vested dots. I think that is very reasonable compared with both the Swiss rates and the American and other like legal rates I've seen around the globe. And I also think it's a good idea to have some vested dots in there, because this then leads to these lawyers also probably like learning more about dots on their own time because they have an interest in there. So I think that is a good scheme.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you very much.
All right, Johnny, thank you very much for coming on, and Amfork as well for bringing this to the table. Sounds like we'll have some interesting discussions on this one. And this is just part 1 of 2 refs required to open this bounty. You guys didn't go for the double sweep, right? So we have quite a lot of time. Yeah, we'll check this out in a couple of weeks when we get back on January 2nd. Guys, thanks very much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we are going to touch base. Oh, look at this one. 150,610 USDT for the creation of the ACID DIDcomm system. This one is, look at this, hanging right in the balance here, 49.1% in favor and just 1 day, 20 hours remaining. So we will be entering sudden death on this one if it's able to creep over the line. We have Richard back on the show. And Richard, who did you bring?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks, Jay. I brought Antonio from Kilt, but we thought it was going to be at 4:10, so in 15 minutes. So I've just messaged you.
Okay, we'll move on to another one for now, okay?
Oh, great. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, this is one I really was interested to talk about. Ref 1347, 92,880 USDT. This is the Polkadot Africa Community Growth proposal. And we have Becca and Kratistos on the show. Guys, welcome back to AAG. What's going on?
Hi, Jay.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to join you all live on AAG today. I'm usually a viewer. For those who may not know me, I've been in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem for a while now, mostly into NFTs. So we're here today to highlight our referendum 1347, requesting 92,880 USDT for 6 months of activities focused on building capacity and community growth in Africa, to be specific, West and East Africa. With Polkadot Africa proposal, this is like our first step towards collaboration and cooperation of efforts to increase awareness, understanding, and bolster an active community here in this continent. We're working together with different entities. I mean, if you look at our proposal, and we'll also include different stakeholders in order to proactively reach out to communities, educate them, and build skills. So we've been in the African community, and I've tried my best for like 2 years now, helping here and there. And there are obvious challenges that we've seen. And with this proposal, it's the first step that we're trying to take to like address these challenges. Like currently right now, Polkadot already is offering so much flexibility for builders and even businesses, and we'll very soon be having Project Plaza. The name hasn't been ratified by the community yet. Who will be so for those who will be comfortable building on EVM, they can now do more with Polkadot. There's also the new Polkadot Ambassador Fellowship, which has been crafted. There are various bounties, there are multiple funding routes, and I mean we also have the fragment system that's being introduced. So with all these resources and systems in place, how do we empower the African community to know and be able to utilize these opportunities and resources to create value? I mean, another challenge that we've had with the African community is that there are few individuals in the ecosystem who are actively involved. For example, if you look at the old ambassador program, for those who are aware, Nigeria alone had about over 900, I believe, candidate ambassadors. But the impact was was not significant at all. There's when you look at Africa itself, it's unique on how it approaches blockchain. Yeah, there's an overwhelming number of non-speculative projects that we see from Africa, and we want to tap into these builders and create and equip them with the necessary knowledge needed or to be able to build on Polkadot as well. So this is why with our proposal, we're proposing to do these activities, and we're focusing on 4 countries first. High impact cities, which we know already existing tech communities exist there. And we'll be working closely with the Polkadot Ambassador Fellowship. We'll be working closely with Events Bounty. We'll be working closely with WAG Media. We'll be working closely with Open Guild as well for developers. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, my camera is not on. I don't know if you could just share the proposal on screen and just highlight something. Yeah. So, I mean, Africa is massive. I mean, if you look at it as well. And with if you've seen just a few days, Electric Capital report, we've seen like a significant increase in Web3 developers. And even when you look at the ecosystems that are on top or have risen with numbers of developers in their ecosystems, such as ICP, who just started their activities in 2003, and Solana as well. L2s are coming in so hard. So, and we are here looking at Polkadot, where we are, like true believers, and we know how good this tech is. So why can't we do something to get it out there to as many people as possible? Yeah. So we're here for Polkadot. We're here for the community, and we'd like to have as much support as we can get so that we can start operations. We want to start operations on ground, and let's see how it goes in 6 months.
All right, maybe we should open the floor. We have a bunch of questions. Do you think it would be a good time to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, nice. Okay, so core team of 4, $92,880 for 6 months. What was the order here? I think it was, let me check here. Let's go Richard first. And guys, real quick questions, real quick answers.
Okay, thanks, Jay. I love the idea, so I'm really for it. I am a little bit biased because I've got 2 of my team in Nigeria, so I definitely want some exposure for them and the other parties within the ecosystem. The thing I'm intrigued by is about your relationship with any universities, because I think that's an easy pickings and a great sort of furtive area that we could explore. So what's your relationship with universities? What are your plans with regards to universities?
Yeah, so the several communities that they do campus tours each year, and we're planning to cooperate and collaborate with some of them, where we'll be able to attend some of these campus tours to represent Polkadot and be able to educate the students there, show them what's possible, lead them to like our own spaces where they can train or they can learn slowly. Whether you're a builder, whether you are non-technical, you'll be able to be assisted to grow your skills.
Okay.
So this is part of our plans.
Yeah,
sure.
Let me just answer this question. Hi everyone, by the way, I'm Becca from Polkadot Africa and lead contributor at Polkadot Africa. So for the universities, I myself already have like a community building experience. I worked with Ross Nigeria, and Ross Nigeria recently got got like featured in Ross Foundation due to my efforts. So what I did is I started with a technical writing, like as a contributor, and then I created a spin-off. So this spin-off, we're able to like target different communities, different people and students. So we have connections with Unilag, which is the University of Lagos. We also have connections with Uniben, which was where the first Rust Nigeria event sponsored by the Rust Foundation. That was where the first event was being held. And then we had another one in Uyo, which is University of Uyo. And I can send the link to Rust Nigeria if you can check. And so I also have other connections with different other communities because of this activities that I've been scoring. And of course, not just me, we also have people who are in Rust Nigeria and are really interested in Polkadot too.
Okay, we are over time here, so we have to go very, very rapid because we do have a lot of hands up, so it does seem interesting. Chrissy, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Right, quick question. What are the plans for Francophone Africa and Lusophone Africa? Because obviously, as you said, it's a big place. And I think, for instance, Dakar, is very vibrant. And
plans for expansion, yeah? Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely we have plans for expansion. So we are looking at different parts. So we have the Togo, the Senegal parts of Africa, which is still kind of part of West Africa. It's just that we want to just target this first hotspots so that it can give like a fear of missing out to other communities when we go into these countries.
Beautiful, Raul.
Yeah, my question has to do with the funding mechanism. I don't understand why this funding mechanism. We've seen other examples before in which it's always better to go to the bounties that, for example, you mentioned. So I'm wondering if you're working closely with those bounties and with the ambassador program, why not use those funding mechanisms since there's direct spending, which is harder for the community to then control?
Okay, good question. So it means that we would have to work with time and then work with them if they would accept or have the time or the bandwidth. So instead of giving or stressing them with the bandwidth of, oh, okay, we are going to help you with these guys, we have some deliverables, or have some like agreements that might not be able to be met on time. What we plan to do is we would execute different tasks which will be strategic, and then we can utilize this partnership to onboard them. So for instance, when we have events, we use this event or the meeting to onboard them. If it's a developer workshop, for instance, we can onboard them into Open Guild, which that's how the synergy works. And then Open Guild provides us the resources to empower developers to write, to build, or to host workshops. So that's how like an example of a synergy would work. So it's not necessarily we working for them, it's we working together to achieve like a common goal, because we also have one of our goals is to have developers. We also have one of our goals to have content creators, which would be onboarded into White Media. So we are like working hand to hand with all these people, not necessarily like under collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a bit more autonomy there. All right, let's try to go much quicker here. The only reason I'm willing to push this a bit further is this could conclude before we get back to AAG in a few weeks. But let's hear from Spectra, who's hungry. Hungry Dow. Are you hungry, sir? Go ahead, sir.
Oh, never heard that joke before.
I'm so sorry.
Two quick questions. One is, you mentioned in your proposal that the meetings are separately funded from the events bounty. Are those approved yet or not?
No.
And if they're not going to be approved, then what is going to happen? And also in your proposal, there's, if I understand it correctly, there's 3 times $4,000 for website development. If you could elaborate on that a little bit, because developing a website for $12,000 seems a bit excessive.
Okay. So for your first question, the meetups would be approved per submission. So of course we cannot guarantee that, but we will try. What we plan to do is, because we have our selected agents, we plan to have them, reliable, and make sure it's reliable and then collect feedback from the event bounty and work so well with the event bounty. But for the second one is the website issue. So what we want to do in the website is we want to have a platform for building and for developers to be able to connect easily and hear or see things happening in the ecosystem. So it's meant to like show like the overview of Polkadot Africa activities, which should serve the whole of the continent to start like exploring Polkadot. I mean, Africa is a large continent, so we want to have like a way to reach out to people, right? And then it was in like a unique way, because dealing with stuff in Africa is kind of different, right? And it would follow the branding guides. So for instance, when we have all these open guild bounties or tasks, or gigs, little gigs for people to quickly see, it will be available in the website. And then projects that are built on Polkadot, which are from Africa, would be displayed there for other people who are looking for similar projects or looking for teams to work with, to come on with. Yeah.
And I just want to highlight here and clock something that confused me in your breakdown of the budget, just on your main proposal here. This line for events, 39,000. This is not actually requested in this spend proposal. This is like we're going to go to the events bounty for this much.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, James, the quickest we've ever seen, and then the quickest answer we've ever seen.
It's similar, just a request for understanding why you went to the treasury. You answered it a little bit earlier, but Becca, obviously you and I are doing similar work just in different parts of the world, and I'm forced to go through marketing, events, routes, fragment funding for these types of events, and I'm just curious why you chose directly to the treasury.
Just be clear, they are going to events bounty for events.
Right, but everything else.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are not just doing the, how do I call it now, events. We are, doing more of community building. So we are onboarding members into different parts of the community, and we are doing it strategically with form and with unison, because this is a problem that we face in Africa. So many people just pop up, random people just pop up and then start some initiative, and then they're not able to continue or finish up with this initiative. And we do not want to have fragmented voices. And okay, let me allow Kratistos continue.
Yeah, so I just want to clear out something. We are part and parcel of the ambassador program. Becca and the core team, we've all applied to join the ambassador fellowship. Number two, we did try our best to fit this thing in Fragment. But then Fragment, remember, it's an interim period, number one. Number two, it has limited funding as well. And we can't, there's a reputation that we have to to manage for Polkadot as well, for ourselves and even for the community as well. We can't start some things and then halfway we can't manage to continue. Yeah. Apart from that is that we can't go through marketing bounty, because some of this stuff are not really part and parcel of what marketing bounty can fund. There was BD bounty as well, but then BD bounty wasn't functioning at the time. We've explored, we've kind of like explored all the resources that are available in the bounties, and the only one we could land on and fit perfectly was events bounty. For Fragment, we did try our best to like fit it in, but they can only fund a small in part of this initiative. And for us, after these 6 months, we hope that Fragment will now have like expanded and fully functional. So this means that even for us after 6 months, we are now able now to reconsider how do we go on from here. Probably other teams, we really hope that other teams will have come forward from Africa as well, and they can also access Fragment funding through that.
All right, we are at double time here. I think we'll see how this concludes at the end. Before next show. But guys, thanks very much for coming on. I do hope you keep your work up in Africa. We've said it's a huge place. There's massive opportunity there, and we really appreciate you guys working to do something. And hopefully we can find a way to keep everything moving forward. We will. Thank you for your answers, and we'll check in on this when we get back from from holidays. Thank you, guys. All right,
Thank you.
we're gonna move on now to a discussion. This is the Quit mobile payment wallet by Electrocoin. Guys, welcome to the show. You're looking for, what's the amount you're looking for here?
300.
300,000?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Why don't you take it away?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, so what we are doing is basically building a payment wallet. So money is on blockchain or Venmo on blockchain for the guys from the US. And basically we are solving three problems. Payment wallets are one of the fastest growing industries in the world, and crypto is not no part of that, because there's no decent stablecoin payments wallet, one which has fiat top up, cash top up withdrawal, card spend as Visa, MasterCard, and payment processor integration all in one place. There are some nice stablecoin wallets like DCAF or Stables Money, but they don't have all of the parts inside. The second problem is stablecoins are currently exploding in volume, and Polkadot is basically not part of that. And the third one is removed from crypto. So guys that use payment wallets, they need to do KYC before they send any amount of money, which is bothersome. It takes time, stuff like that. With crypto, you don't have to do that. You can send money right away. So a decent stablecoin wallet would make it real short for people to move small amounts of money between themselves. Electrocoin exists for 10 years, and we basically have all of the building blocks. We are a regulated exchange in the European Union. We have our own fiat on-off ramp, our own cash on-off ramp, our own crypto payment processor. We have an integration with a physical card, with Holyhell, their MasterCard. And of course, now there's regulated Euro stablecoins, EuroC being the obvious example. The only thing we lack is a decent mobile payment app to tie all of this together. And we think now is the time to build something like that, because now we have an existing network of partners, both in Croatia and in the wider European Union. We have 3,500 point of sales. You can buy virtually anything in Croatia using crypto. It goes through our payment processors. So we have the biggest retail chain. We have thousands of kiosks, hundreds of kiosks. We have petrol stations, web shops. You can buy insurance using crypto. You can buy gold, whatever. It goes through us. So the moment we have the payment app, we can drop it on our 40,000 existing users, 500 merchants, 3,500 locations. For Polkadot ecosystem, this would be real-world adoption. So it will just drive the use of Polkadot for everyday payments, increasing the transaction volume and network activity. We would streamline the Euro stablecoin infrastructure, because there's some work to be done there. There's no Euro stablecoin as a sufficient asset on Polkadot's asset hub. We need to fix that. We need to bring down some fees. So there's a lot of work to be done there, and we have motivation to do that. And of course, brand awareness, because everything we'll do will be Quit powered by Polkadot, and telling everybody about the benefits of the Polkadot ecosystem. In short, that's the summary. You can take a look at the grant proposal.
Okay, Nicola, A+ summary. Great description. Thank you very much. Okay, I got a few questions off the bat, and then let's get some hands going here. So what's the exchange? Is it Electrocoin?
Electrocoin, yeah.
Okay, and how many people are trading?
40,000.
14 or 40?
40. So we're the biggest player in Croatia.
Yeah.
A lot of our users are in the wider European Union. We are a regional player. We are not, a global gigantic player.
Yeah, got you. And how many people are using your MasterCard solution?
I don't have those numbers right now with me. Yeah.
So you're looking to build basically. Yeah, go ahead.
So we are integrated with Holyhell. They are also EU-based solution. They have a non-custodial card, and so you can directly do top up from us to their MasterCard and then spend it. So that's basically the integration.
All right, and you basically want to create an app for basic payments. Are those underlying assets going to be on Polkadot Asset Hub, or because you were mentioning Euro C there, which I don't think we have minted on Asset Hub yet.
Yes, yes, you do,
Oh,
but
we
it's
do?
not.
Okay.
It's not sufficient as. It's not sufficient asset, so it has to go. I mean, there's no basically the Euro stablecoin infrastructure on Asset Hub is not good. We have to drive that, of course. That's why I mentioned it. Yeah, it's rudimentary. So one of the benefits for Polkadot is we're going to push this because we need a Euro-based stablecoin.
Okay, and then you expect this app to mostly be used within Croatia, where you also have a lot of point of sale.
Yeah, so it's going to start in Croatia. We're going to test run it in Croatia because we have a lot of locations here. But a decent part of the budget is for business development and for expansion to other countries. I mean, this is usually how payment wallets start inside the European Union because it's the fragmented market. So we start in one country and then we expand. It can right away be used globally, not only in the whole European Union. Anybody can download it, use it for peer-to-peer transactions, stuff like that. But yeah, point like buying bread and butter.
Yeah.
For now, only Croatia.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, yeah, Lee.
Hey, so before I ask the question, I work at Nova Wallet. We're about to release a MasterCard as well. So I have obviously a conflict of interest here. So my 2 questions. Can I top the card up only using the Euro stablecoin, or can I use DOT? And then the second question is, how do you plan to get like liquidity in DEXs for people to swap from like DOT to the Euro stablecoin if it is only the Euro stablecoin that you can top the card up with?
Okay, so you can do top up in wire transfer, credit card, any crypto, cash, and at our cash locations. Electrocoin is a crypto exchange, so we have the whole infrastructure. We are connected to the biggest market makers. We have infrastructure built connected to the DEXs. So whatever you send us, whatever we exchange that to Euro stablecoin on the Polkadot network, and then we transact with that.
Cool, Tommy.
I've been just looking for the string EUR, so euros on Asset Hub. I cannot really find it, like EUR, anything related to euros.
My team is telling me USDC and USDC. Sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, we have to. I'm terribly sorry about this.
Okay.
So yeah, we are talking to Circle about that. I'm also founder of the biggest financial conference in Southern Eastern Europe, and we'll have speakers from Circles coming this year to Zagreb. We are working on USDC being put on Euro C being put on the Polkadot blockchain. It does not currently exist. I'm terribly sorry about this mistake. My people are going to kill me.
No worries. Where would the liquidity come from? The initial liquidity for the Euro stablecoins?
Yeah, Circle provides that for all of the blockchains where they operate. We of course can buy some more with the deposit from our customers. We have as Electrocoin as a broker, we have our own liquidity. So the amount that we need, we basically buy from Coinbase. We deposit fiat to them. They put it on the Polkadot blockchain, and then we use it.
And do you know at what point in time Circle would be committing to deploying that stablecoin?
We don't have a timeline yet because we currently haven't even started with developing the wallet.
All right, got it. Thank you.
All right, well, that's time there. I think it's a really interesting concept, especially if you think like regionally. I know there's like aspirations to make it global, but even just weighing the risk and reward for this regional deployment, I don't know, it's interesting to me, but we'll have to see how people feel when you really get it on chain. Any indication of when you're going to put this as a ref?
5 days, something like that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll check that out when we get back. Lee, did
just
you have
one more set. One more set, if I can. Moving from Euro stablecoin to, for instance, USD stablecoin is just it's a few lines of code. We are focusing on euros because we are regulated here and our customers are here. But switching to global. Moving to US or whatever, it's just adding support for USDC.
Cool. Lee, do you have a final closing thought?
Yeah. So I've only just seen this ref. So the cost of this ref is going to be $334,000, I guess, and $110,000 that is marketing for the launch. Do you guys plan on having any follow-up referendums? Like, is this, for example, like milestone 1, or will there be like maintenance refs following this up?
Good question.
For development, I doubt there will be any follow-ups. Depending on how the market reacts, how fast we are growing, we might come back to the community if we detect that money from the community could help us grow faster. But at this point, we don't really think we will have follow-ups on this.
Thank you. Nicola, nice to have you on the show. Nice to meet you. And thank you for submitting this discussion.
Thank you, guys.
All right, all right. I think then, slides right in. Antonio Antonino. Let's get him over here. Well, with this guest arrived, we are going to move to the Ref 1315. This is the creation of the asset DID system. Richard, we're just working on getting Antonio over here.
That's all right. I can do a little bit of an intro. So yeah, thanks for getting us to the sort of halfway point, tipping point. We just wanted to address a few more of the technical questions and the feedback that we've been given. So that's why Antonio is on the call today. But in addition to that, we've just taken on a new member of the Excavate team with 10 years of full stack development, 5 years of TE and mobile development experience. So I think coupled with Apollon and Kilt, we've got the technical know-how to deliver this in spades. So I'll pass the baton over to Antonio.
Hi, sorry, I just joined, so I missed a little bit of context.
He was just explaining how stacked your team is to actually follow through with deploying this, and then he threw it over to you.
I mean, I don't think we have to explain what Kilt can deliver. I think Excavate decided to base their solution on, part of the solution on the bits that Kilt already has. It's already used in production, so I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Could you sort of help people understand the relationship that we talked through this morning between IPFS, the DIDs?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one key difference probably that I want to mention between blockchain accounts and DIDs is that DIDs do allow for saving encryption information for a subject. So you can have multiple encryption and decryption keys where you can you can encrypt data for this DID that only this DID can decrypt, which is something that for accounts is missing because the main use case for accounts is just signing transactions or signing messages. So they only do signing. So that would definitely work using DIDs. And I think, again, I'm missing a little bit of context here, but basically the solution builds on these unique capabilities of DIDs. They have to encrypt and decrypt and also to rotate keys over time. So if you have, let's say you have one bucket per asset or like a set of buckets per asset, you can somehow store in each bucket only information that should be accessible and available for a specific subset of DIDs. And then also if you have a collective DID, let's say a DID that represents a group of people, and you want only a subset, like, hierarchies change, someone leaves the company or someone leaves the collective, you can actually rotate the encryption key to a new one and only distribute that to the new members of the collective so that the old parties don't have access to the information anymore. So that's, I think, another powerful feature of DIDs that, the regular blockchain accounts don't have. Don't know if that answers.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Just one thing to add, we did talk about different use cases over the last few weeks, and one thing we mentioned this morning was if you take the example of a car. So a manufacturer of a car creates the asset, but then the owner of the asset then takes it to the garage to get it serviced, etc. So all of those interactions with various different entities, and they are DIDs, the communication aspect could be recorded, verifiable, and that sort of historic element of the interaction between DIDs and the assets would mean that there's provenance to it and giving people a sense of security over time. I think that's what we're trying to achieve. But with real estate, with other real world assets. Yeah, and even in the gaming realm.
Yeah, what I can tell, what I can add more is that Kilt hasn't developed the use case as such, so it doesn't have a business opinion in this. But we've checked the document and we see that from a technical perspective, everything that Excavate has actually outlined is achievable and it's already possible with the tech that Kilt provides. So there's no really big unknowns from the Kilt perspective and from the identity part perspective that I can say for sure.
Any questions?
Looks like it's a tricky one here. You have Chaos DAO on the nay side, and you also have, I think, Linexis on the nay side. Chaos DAO looks pretty firm. Is Linexis close, or what do you think? Is there any chance of flipping? Richard?
Oh, sorry. I mean, it's difficult because the feedback we've had was only around the technical side and around the use case. We've got a lot of community backing. You only have to look at the comments. At the end of the day, one large use case like Funky described last week could mean. I think at the end of the day, what is the community doing to protect? What is the vote protecting? If it's protecting $150,000 with no upside, then obviously vote it down. But if there's even a possibility of an upside, then surely it's better than just burning that USDT or sort of just locking it and burning fees. I'm just trying to think of devil's advocate. At the end of the day, we know it will work for our use case. We know it will work for other people's use cases, but we need to explore what those are and then deliver based on everyone's individual aspects. So it will be abstracted out over the period of the 6 months that we're looking to deliver this. But we just need, at least be given the opportunity to try and deliver it.
All right. So you're making an argument here. It's worth the risk, worth the potential waste, because one big application could return many times over. Chrissy, what do you think?
Oh, just a quick question, Richard. How would this impact the very strong work that you've been doing with regulators? You're, part of the FCA sandbox, looking at other jurisdictions to be part of those sandboxes. I think there's a lot of good momentum there. So, how would the decision on this particular proposal impact that good regulatory work, if at all?
So it won't affect anything that I'm doing currently and the project's doing with regards to the FCA, but what it will do is give other projects in the ecosystem and potentially encourage others into the ecosystem that are going through any regulatory dialogue, because this sort of interaction and sort of message recording between DIDs relating to a specific asset would be very appealing to regulators all around the world. So I think that's something that's not really tackled in the industry at the moment in Web3, and I think it needs a lot of work. So and regulators need to be educated. Something that's not, but if we do it in a way that is collaborative, then they're definitely more receptive. That's what we've found. So I think any tool that helps that process will be beneficial.
Great. Anything else?
No.
No. Okay. Excuse me.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yes, thanks very much. I mean, so close. So you're just looking for 700,000 dots to come in here. That'll push you over it. It's tight though. Would you come back if this doesn't end up passing with a revised approach?
If there was feedback saying why it wouldn't pass, and then for us to come back, I mean, it's something that it's going to help our project anyway. So I just think that the idea behind this would be to abstract it out to make it available for everyone else in the ecosystem. So yeah, if it's needed and wanted, then we'll be happy to come back. But at the moment, I don't understand how we could change it to make it more appealing to the ecosystem.
All right. Okay. Well, it's been nice discussing this with you. I guess we'll see what happens by the time we come back. But anyway, at least it'll be over before holidays. Thanks very much, Richard. Okay, we have another proposal here that's important to discuss. 1317. This is the Merkle Mountain Belts, and this has been a wild ride. Huge swings, and we had a major swing to the nay side yesterday after we had some very rare feedback from Gavin Wood himself, making his 4th public vote here on the nay side. Then we had a big response by the team, and then also interesting just this morning, Alistair, lead research at the Web3 Foundation, came in with a lot of positive remarks, but a split abstain. Now under the weight of 60 million excess votes on the nay side. Yeah, it's an interesting one here. What do we think, Robert? What's how are we feeling, and how do we move forward?
Hi guys. Thank
Alfonso
you for
too.
having
Yeah,
us.
sorry about that, Alfonso. Welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, so I want to take this opportunity to go a little bit through Gav's comment and express our opinions. Yeah, clearly Gav had some strong reservations that we were not aware of, so we're very sad about it, because obviously we deeply respect his opinion. That being said, I think there are some things that we can dissect from his opinions, and we'd like to make some strong points here. So the first strong point is that the proposal is very useful for the community, and the paper is worth publishing. And actually, Gav acknowledged this. That's the first thing he said. However, I believe that he's not aware of just how complex the library is going to be and how much is remaining for the paper to be finished. And I think Alistair, the head of research at Web3 Foundation, agrees with us that that was also his opinion. So yeah, I think he's underestimating how much time it's going to take to complete these 2 parts of the proposal, and also how useful a complete library is going to be, both within JAM and also for use cases outside of JAM. The next point I'd like to make is that from the very beginning, we started with very good faith making this proposal. For instance, since July, we've published a very lengthy and detailed proposal with reasonable calculations. We've asked for feedback from all the relevant parties, technical parties, and we've incorporated the feedback that we received, including feedback from Gav at the time, into the version 2, to the point that all the technical leads from the 2 bridges and the parity bridge team actually supported us in the final version.
I think we're actually having some connection issues with Alfonso here. Alfonso, we're having a little bit of connection issues for you there. We lost the end of what you were saying.
Okay, so yeah, I was saying we've asked for feedback publicly since July. We received plenty of feedback, and we've incorporated that feedback to the version 2 of the proposal, to the point that we have the support from the technical leads from Snowbridge and Hyperbridge and the Parity Bridge team. We've been hearing these calls regularly. We've been replying to comments in Polk Assembly, to the point that I believe that, yeah, we've been fair and transparent for anybody who had a concern. So yeah, I cannot think of anything else we could have done in terms of due diligence to make sure that everybody's aware of what we're offering. Yeah, and as a result of that, of course, is that we had a 98.7% support just yesterday morning. So it really hurts me that Gav used the word grift to refer to our proposal, and I believe that he might change his mind once he sees our reply. Yeah. The next point I'd like to say is that it hasn't been easy for us
there hasn't been a clear path for a proposal like ours, which is research heavy. And also, Gav seems to be a bit confused about the path that we should have taken. He mentioned that we should have joined the fellowship and that we should have asked for treasury funds from it. But the thing is that in this statement of the reason for being for the treasury, it says explicitly that you cannot be there as a researcher. And I happen to be a researcher. I'm not a dev. So it would be great in the future if the fellowship accepts researchers, or if there's some new organization similar to Treasury that is more research heavy, or if there's more support to open Go proposals like ours. We also actually tried to get funding from the Treasury of the fellowship, and we were rejected. So we actually tried that, and I guess Gav was not aware of it. So yeah, in the future, I think it would just be great if the community gave more facilities for research-heavy proposals to get funding, so that everybody feels comfortable in the, like, there's a clear path and nobody thinks that we're going like in the wrong path. And yeah, finally, I'd like to say that, of course, there are some criticisms that we were not aware of that Gav had that may be taken into consideration. For instance, he seems to think that the timeframes of the deliverables are too long. We never received such criticism before. We didn't think that the deliverables were like very time sensitive. So of course, we could change the order of the deliverables to have something executable much earlier, some kind of library that is working but maybe not complete, and then just keep adding deliverables to complete this library. And also we have this exploration budget for the paper, and he seems to think that some of these things are not useful. I disagree, but I'm a researcher and everybody is entitled to their opinion. So of course we can negotiate what kind of things should be added to this exploratory budget kind of topics. So yeah, just to conclude, I believe that we can reach an agreement with Gav and Alistair also. Yeah, and that this can be fixed. And once we fix this, there should be no reason to reject this proposal, because yeah, we have established that it's very useful actually for the community. Yep. Thank you.
For some reason, the microphone's not connected for you, Robert. Looks like the wrong input, possibly. Oh, maybe he'll come back. Okay, yeah, so... Oh, Robert? Nope. God, I think we got to fix the input there, or try a different one. Yep, okay. I'll just point out real quick. So Alistair also responded to your response to Gav, or actually he was responding to Gav here, and he's kind of taking the middle road here. He thinks that it's more work than Gav is thinking, but also still a little high for the work he believes it'll be. And then also what I'm hearing here is there's kind of this combination of there's the research and there's the implementation kind of put together here. And it's like the implementation part could belong under the fellowship. The research part, as you say, doesn't belong under the fellowship. I guess it's just kind of,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. A lot of complexity here. Robert, what did you want to add?
But first, finish your point. I just wanted to check that if you wanted to add anything else to say.
Nope.
Okay. Actually, to touch on the last point, like the implementation track could be funded by the fellowship, and also to amend something that Alfonso said before. So we reached out to. So on the one hand, like when the fellowship specifically says that research is like an incidental activity, not one of the primary ones. That's why the research there is excluded. And when he said like that we're rejected by the Treasury, what specifically happens is that we're told that our proposal would be out of scope of the focus of the fellowship. And that's why we made it a pure open gap proposal. Our initial intention, if you look at our original discussion, was to have it split. And they said it would be out of scope. So rather pure open gap one.
Who said that?
This was from the feedback from the fellowship secretariat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Coach.
And Jay, to go to your point of what Alistair said, I think he used the word critical, that there's some parts that could be considered critical and some parts that are not for the paper. So it's a matter of opinion if the community actually cares about making a, like a short but good enough paper or a very strong paper. And yeah, again, that's something that could be discussed. Gav seems to think that these non-critical parts are superfluous. That's the word he used. But yeah, I think this can be fixed if if it's highly important to reduce the budget, then of course it could be discussed to cut some things.
Yeah. All right. We're a little over time here, but luckily our timer has left the room, so we can throw it to Raul real quick.
Yeah, I just want comment on clarifying the use of the fellowship treasury that you were just discussing, because I remember the discussion. Originally, part of the fellowship thought it was a good idea or a very productive idea to fund projects like this, particularly on implementation, be a fellowship treasury. Eventually, and by message of the secretary, the fellowship decided that the treasury from fellowship should cover operational cost of fellowship only, not implementation per se. So that's why OpenGov comes in place here.
So what's Gav talking about here, do you think?
We'll see when he responds, I guess.
Raul,
yeah.
do you have any insight in what he's, or is it like a misunderstanding or what?
No, I don't. But my understanding was that fellowship would not cover implementation development, as far as I remember the discussion a few months ago.
Right. Okay. Well, what do we have left here? A week remaining, a week and 3 hours remaining. So let's see what happens. A little bit of spice and excitement during the holidays. Yeah, Robert.
I add one thing to add. So we discussed this on the last call. We had this poll for reducing the success reward, and we have the feedback that we got on this was all for the route where we say it's 30% below the 1.4 million threshold and 20% above. So we've made this change to the proposal that you can see on Polk Assembly. So thanks to everyone we got feedback from. Our sample size here wasn't big, but that was the feedback was all consistent that everyone preferred this option except for us. So that change has been made to the proposal, if that changes anyone's mind.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see what happens. Thanks very much, Robert. And Alfonso as well. Painful. That's a max pain ref right there. But hopefully we can work it out.
Yeah, agreed.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you. Now, got to throw it over to Andrew and Connor. No, sorry, Jan-Ton. Just one second, because I missed it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, bros. Late submission here. Put it on the agenda, but didn't put it in the tabs. We got to throw it to Connor Daly 2025 Motorsports Program. This is $3.5 million in stablecoins, split between the two stablecoin treasuries. Andrew, Connor, nice to see you guys. Chris, I think, is in here as well. Early days, but okay, not a lot of support yet. We have a 4 million on the nay side, and nobody's woken up on the I side yet. But long ways to go here, guys. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it, Jay. Listen, we know it's a marathon, not a sprint. And again, I think even most of the people sitting on this panel have engaged with us in some capacity to know and hopefully understand our intentions to deliver a quintessential example of how these sponsorships should not be blocked in to one term. And I think that's kind of the main thing that we want to bring up today, just as we're going through the feedback that we see on a referendum, through the discussion in Kustau, et cetera. There's a lot of feedback just in the sense of, this is merely a marketing proposal. This is an awareness play. This is, you're doing B2B work, then why are we paying this much for just B2B? And I think the one thing that's just critical to understand, and listen, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I certainly know that some individuals here have not only gotten to see firsthand our program, but they've actually been on site at some of the races and events and seen us in different conversations, even outside of our program, that we're trying to bring to this community. But with that being said, this is a very much an omni-channel program. This is something that has a lot of layers built into it. And it's critical to understand that it's very much a gateway to a lot of other portals where we want to be able to supplement the community across the board. Again, looking at even just some fun X comments yesterday about referendums being way too long, guilty. I think when we put together, our original referendum, but we have the comprehensive data, from what we've delivered on this past year for our program. We've proven and brought to the community as far as, external hope, opportunities, and B2B stuff. I know a lot of people are asking what's going on with VBrick. There's NDAs in place with Blockdeep Labs and Paul Sparta. I am working on getting that formally to the community this week, but it is very, very positive across the board. And just the last thing I want to say is, it's important to just remind everybody, like the efforts that we've done with B2B work, with Connor as an ambassador, with Dot Play, with Nitro Nation, all these great things that I think are often not reminded of throughout this process. All that falls by the wayside if we don't have this program. And that's not a threat. It's merely that our attention and our focus has to be 110% on racing first and being able to supplement and support our partners in parallel. So it is something that I just want to have that critical reminder of is, all this great work that we've done on the ground level for the last year, it could be not for nothing if we don't find a way to, make this program happen in some capacity. The last thing I'll say is, again, feedback is critical. I can take a nay vote all day long. Where you'll probably see a lot of me in your comments is asking why. And again, you have every reason for your votes and your obligation. Just know that I certainly would love the reasoning and rationale and the discussion if you are open to it. With that, the good news, Connor Daly, newest fully announced full-time driver of Junko Soldinger Racing in the IndyCar Series for next year. So some good news yesterday. And again, just a quick shout out to Robert, who I know has been going through his own struggles, has been so generous with his time to help us out with our pre-image to get everything up and going for our referendum. Definitely a very, very big shout out to him across the board. So Connor, Chris, I don't know if there's anything I missed. Otherwise, we welcome any comments or feedback to that.
Yeah, just real quick on my side. I think, when we read a lot of the comments, I think it's important to just be open to kind of like respecting that there might be something that you just might not know because it's an unfamiliar territory. Like a lot of the stuff that we get asked, we have information literally right there. It's just a matter of consuming it and maybe like, hey, this is something that I didn't know. Because when we got into this whole process as well, there was a lot we didn't know. And boy, have we done our best to understand, what is going on here and what we can do to benefit this whole group, this community. So I just think that there is some stuff out there that, again, maybe people are just shut off to it. Like there's no way that can be real, or there's no way that that is what we are like capable of doing. But Andrew is very good. And both myself, we talk about this every hour of the day. Like, hey, we've given, this type of information. We've given a response to this that like shows an answer to the question. I think it's just important to be like, hey, maybe this is actually right. Like, or maybe there is some beneficial things here. So I think that's the only thing is just kind of out of respect for the process and figuring it out. Like we've obviously tried to learn as much as we can and continue to do that like day by day. And it's actually been a lot of fun. Honestly, it's enjoyable to learn new things. So maybe there's something out there. And yeah, I think it's been, we're excited about it still. Obviously it's very early on and, went through this yesterday. So putting up the proposal, the referendum. So I think there's a lot of good things that can be done. But as Andrew said, there is a critical, there will be a critical time of like, hey, we want to continue this stuff, and we want to be able to make sure that we take advantage of the full benefits of all the work that we put in towards this whole program.
Very nice. Angie, welcome. What's
Thank
going on?
you. I was just going to add that I think with these sponsorship deals, we can put them almost in two categories. Pure sponsorship, where we have kind of the Polkadot logo on something that has many, many views, hopefully, millions and millions of views. And then we also have kind of a BD effort. And this has both in my mind. And within the BD effort, there is kind of spokesperson marketing. There's actual marketing of events. There's social media marketing, and then also hopefully, if this goes through, we'll be integrating Connor into a video game that has potentially 100 million people playing it. So I think that there are other aspects to this that are incremental to a sponsorship agreement that we should think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point that she mentions. Like again, but like Andrew says, there's layers, but like there is so much. The one thing that we keep seeing a lot of the time is like, oh, well, like the logo on a race car, like that's, as we've said, that's a bonus. Like that's a great side. But this whole year of 12 months of activities I think is super important to just focus on the fact that, like, yeah, we are doing social content every week. We are going to be racing, 17 times at least out of the year. Like, we are going to be doing all these things. So that's important to package together. So that's all.
It's 17 races under the Polkadot banner? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, it'll be 6, but like
Yeah.
I am still doing obviously the whole season. So
yes, nice.
Yeah.
Jose.
Yeah, thanks, Connor and company. Love what you have been doing, guys. I think I think there is something missing here, and I think what's missing is just you getting into a hook into your fans. We need your fans to be using Polkadot, really. Your fans in the stands has your race. They should be already engaged within an application on which they can win something, or it doesn't matter. Other companies, business to business, restaurants around, all these people could be involved into cross marketing campaigns, right? Increasing the amount of people who we can bring into your application while you are racing, right? The amount of awareness is great, right? The stamping of the logo is all great. What I'm missing is that. It's just the engagement, the fan engagement. How do we keep them in? How do we keep them talking about it, right? I mean, that's where the goal is, in my opinion, right? So, I think that's what we lack so far is seeing that, what kind of mechanism do you have to involve fans and reward them for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Jose. And it's worth reminding, we have a marketing activation plan at track for this year. So of the 6 races and probably more, we are going to be able to, again, have a presence that's going to incentivize people to download a wallet, be entered in giveaways, meet Connor for meet and greets and autographs in the infield. I know folks like Jay, Angie, Chrissy, just to name a few, when they attended the Indy 500 last year, they saw the infield and the activation zone of some of those big brands and companies. That too is a presence where Polkadot is going to have a presence next year as well. So noted, both at a hyper local, but even at a regional level, it's where we want to hit a grand slam. Like, we really, really, really think about this, hand over foot. And it's also worth noting, Connor's relationships within the series, but also in Indianapolis. Like, I know he doesn't like it when I put his ego on display, but the guy can't walk into a restaurant anywhere in Indianapolis without somebody knowing him. That network is critical. And I think even if we make, as much as we're trying to make Polkadot huge in Miami, we too can have a secondary hub in the Midwest, with Indianapolis as well.
Yep. Now we're in extra laps here. But Chris, maybe you could say what you want to say real quick.
Well done.
Oh, yeah, I'll go real quick. Just on Jose's point, like, I have made that aware to both Connor and Andrew. They realize it. We reached out to Berto. Like, I know the Polkadot app is slowly rolling out, like, for trial and error there. But I think that could be something that's very tangible to the fans and people relate to on top of Nitro Nation. So I see those two things as being touch points that could relate to his fans. Then you still got the hackathons with EZA and stuff. But as far as, like, the everyday consumer, non-developer focus, to your point, I think those two things are vital. We didn't have last year.
Awesome, guys. James?
Only comment I would say to the crowd is, from my perspective here in Miami, virtually every single conversation I have somehow involves either Inter Miami or Connor. And these sponsorships have helped open up conversations and opportunities for me here.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't be in favor of every big ticket brand activation sort of sponsorship, but you guys have really embedded yourselves in kind of the substrate of the ecosystem here. And it's just like the Inter Miami thing where, yeah, geez, like the way that's being integrated into the ecosystem and into like the general storytelling of Polkadot, especially in America. I think it's really powerful stuff. I am in support of this one. I wouldn't be in support of everything like this, but I think you guys are doing great work. So I hope this goes well over the holidays, and we'll check back in when we get back. I'm looking forward to seeing you back on the show soon.
And not for nothing, Connor's birthday was the other day. It's the holiday season, guys. No better gift than voting aye. Just saying.
There you
Come
go.
on.
There
Come
you
on.
go. Yeah, happy birthday to you, Connor, and also congratulations on the race team. And hopefully we can get that car nice and pink for those major races.
That would be extremely helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, good stuff, guys. Thank you. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, we're going to throw it to the guys from TON for the latest and greatest on the intersection between Polkadot and TON. Take it away.
Hi, Jay. So happy final AAG. Let's start. The last couple days, we was pushing the TON and Substrate SDK on the biggest TON hackathon.
Yeah.
It's called Hackers League. Please check the links. The Vladimir Sushkov is now sending the link in the chat. You can see how hard was to describe to the TON community why we choose the Substrate SDK and why it's the best solution, but you can find it there. It's online, it's live. And tomorrow we're gonna be understand, do we win this hackathon or not? So tomorrow in 4 p.m. In Central European time, we become notice we're winning or not winning. I just noticed this 3 million prize, so it's actually big. So let's see. The second topic, what we need to discuss, it's only three. The TON is preparing the public launch. Now we are preparing the first dot liquidity provider. It's gonna be the official, the Harbor Capital. So they're gonna be the first who put the dots in the issue.ton. We also have tomorrow the call with Angela from the SignalGrow.play. So we also scheduled the call with the SkyTel next week. We want to speak with the SkyTel guys about the opportunities. And also we are talking with TON protocols. It's called BMO, HIPPO, TON stakers about today bring the liquidity in the .ton. What is bring this liquidity in Substrate? That's, I think, the super important that liquidity from TON it's bridging to the Polkadot. So it's also ongoing. And we, of course, happy to put the Bifrost, AirDot, HOMA, and another liquid staking dot inside the TON, but we still not there. So we are preparing the first DApp from the Polkadot, which is going live on TON and accessible in the mini app. It's going live in January. Unfortunately, because we don't launch in December, we launch in January. We postponed this to the January. So you all know this DApp, and it's gonna be fun for you to check how it looks like when the application from the Polkadot ecosystem looks like in TON. So it's going live in January. We announce it later. So also we prepared the destructive marketing, but you know the funny thing, what we learned, the destructive marketing can make the marketing if you have the proposal live. So we need to end the proposal and then we can become the marketing campaign from the destructive. We don't know about that, so now we learn. And it's coming after the proposal, it's shutting down. So also thank you everyone for the feedback what we become. We calibrate a lot in the .ton, in different another aspects. Thank you so much for Tommy, Saxonberg, Hausdau, and everyone. We also give the opportunity just to notice to everyone who have the .ton, the work with the OpenGov palettes. So it's going to be community driven, and you can propose the changing inside the TON through the OpenGov solution. So also really big thank to Kuzdao, to Lucky Friday. They vote yeah. So I'm really happy, and I hope the more people it's gonna be joining us. Also, the third thing what I want to discuss, it's the parallel case. It's showing that no innovative and no taking the risk is not guarantee anything, because a lot of comments it was like, guys, you need to be more let's say hedge the risk and so on. We understand this, but also you can see the topic when everything is not guaranteed, even if you have the cool VC, great audits, it's not guarantee anything. And we need sometimes take some risk. So that's what we did with the GemTon. The main goal anyway is connect liquidity and community from the TON and the Polkadot together and make it better and better. We also agree with Sean about the Kusama. That's why we don't launch on Kusama, because it's, you know, on the low right now, let's say traction. And if we bring the Kusama parachain, let's say the GemTon, we never become support from TON, because they just don't see any opportunity to put liquidity in Kusama and so on. That's why we're launching on Polkadot. So in the end, we thank the community for supporting our proposal. We have noticed that we have received both IE and NA from the Web3 Foundation delegates. We are aware that there is an obligation for DV to provide a feedback on each proposal they vote on. Therefore, we encourage DV to share their feedback, both positive and negative, in the comments on our proposal before the end of the voting period. This will certainly help us improve and assist the community in understanding DV judgment. Thank you for your cooperation. That's all.
All right, so I think you're still waiting for feedback from Saxonburg and Polkadot Hungary. The feedback that was provided on the NA side, basically some skepticism on the technical feasibility of this project, which hopefully you guys can clear up by launching and showing it off. That would be great. Does anybody have any questions or comments or feedback or concerns at this point? We have about a week left, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, Ozzy.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you just mentioned Kusama. I think Kusama is a perfect space for this launch. You know, if you think you will be bringing liquidity into Kusama, that liquidity will flop into Polkadot too. It's the same ecosystem basically. So, you know, I think funding through Kusama it could be attained, right? So if this doesn't pass it, but I think this is a great project to launch in Kusama. This is just perfect for the ecosystem. You will find more support there. So
thank you for opinion, Josh. Thank you.
Anything else? I think we're good. Good luck with the hackathon. Did you say the prize is 3 million?
3 million. So tomorrow in 4 p.m. we know do we win or not. We are in infrastructure layer, so it's a special topic, infrastructure layer for TON, and we become basically only one L2, and of course only one from Substrate SDK. We know it's TAC coming. They become officially 8 million already, and another race is coming, and they don't have any tech, but they're using the Cosmos SDK. And also we have the DAC chain with using OKX SDK, but we believe again the Substrate SDK become the best L2 for TON.
Wow, really interesting. Okay, well, good luck. Be curious to hear what happens there tomorrow. You said.
Yes, tomorrow in 4.
Yeah, nice. Good. All right, good luck, guys. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Finally, last one today, Ref 1337, LEET. Prestel and Partners Family Office and Investors Conference Series for Polkadot, 185,000 USDC, sitting at 30.8% in favor and not quite halfway through the decision period. Yeah, Max. Where art thou? Yes, sir. Welcome to the show. What's going on here?
Yeah, hello everyone. Good to be back. So I thought maybe to kick this off, I'll give a little bit of an update of our Fund 2, how that is going along, because that is very much related. So Fund 1 is doing super well. Obviously, we're all happy with the recent performance of DOT at the moment. But then also one of our portfolio companies, Peak Network, listed, and that's lifting up the performance of our Fund 1 very significantly. So things are very, very bullish, very exciting. Our investors are happy, and that's also one of the reasons why we are launching Fund 2. So we're currently submitted incorporation in the Caymans again. We're probably launching Fund 2 in early January. So it's happening. Obviously, we want to scale Fund 2. We want to get more investments into the fund because, as you all know, it's a Polkadot fund. So everything we do there is invest in Polkadot-based projects, which I think is good for everyone here. We have, as a matter of fact, already spoken with quite a few projects that we're looking to support, sort of on general VC terms. So with that kind of introduction out of the way, let's talk a little bit more about the proposal here itself. I think, it's still worth reminding everyone why we believe it's important to go to these family office summits. I mean, one obvious reason is because nobody else is doing it, right? None of the other ecosystem funds really is out there hustling, trying to get wealthy individuals interested in Polkadot. We're doing a lot of these other more generic crypto events, but it's a very different crowd that we're trying to target here, right? It's institutional investors, it's family offices, it's people with a net worth of $50 to $100 million, and many of them are actively exploring the crypto space. They might not be aware of Polkadot, but if we can get this in front of them, I think we can see some significant inflows into the Polkadot ecosystem, which, once again, is pretty obviously good for everyone. One thing I really want to clear up here, and there's so much confusion about this, I really want to say this is a joint effort here, right? Yes, Harbor Industrial is leading this initiative, but we're bringing along a bunch of other people here, right? We're bringing along other ecosystem funds, we're bringing along other projects, we're bringing people from Parity, from the Web3 Foundation. We're also gonna align this this series here with ambassadors. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if this new ambassador project that Lucy and Don Diego are currently trying to rekindle, right? If that kind of takes off, then we're trying to bring some of the new ambassadors along to these events, the ones who are interested in IR, the ones who are interested in speaking to institutional investors. All right, so obviously it's not the first time that I'm here on AAG to talk about this. I've been here before, as you all know. So in the previous proposals that failed narrowly, there were two criticisms, right? And I'm sure a lot of people here can relate to this because probably it's you guys who made these criticisms, right? So one was scale it down, and the other was go to the events bounty, right? So I want to respond to both of them. Let's first of all talk about, and we've done both, right? I guess that's important to say, we've done both. So we did speak to the events bounty, and they did come up with a response, but frankly speaking, I'm pretty unhappy with this response because the events bounty, I mean, they also have their own agenda. They have their own view of how certain events should be run, but they clearly don't understand sort of these type of investor events. Yeah, I think they're good at supporting smaller community events, doing these more kind of underground Berlin style hacker houses and so on. But the investor conferences where we're targeting institutional capital, clearly the curators of the events bounty don't understand how these things work and why they are important. I mean, one of the comments that I also already shared publicly by them is they said, oh, we don't think Saudi Arabia is a great place to raise money. Really? Are you kind of reading the news? The Saudis are very, very actively deploying capital in the Web3 space, right? And Polkadot is kind of missing out because we're not there, we're not going there, and this is something we want to change. And also, Riyadh is one of 5 locations that we're proposing. So I have to say, I unfortunately have to disagree here, respectfully disagree with the events bounty's decision here, and that's kind of why we're back to OpenGov now. So the other criticism from OpenGov was, why don't you scale it down? And so that's exactly what we have done, right? If you remember, back in the days, we asked for $1 million to do a much larger event series, right? And then people said, why don't you start with something small, a couple of events, and request a smaller budget, and then deliver it, and then we see whether we want to renew this, right? Fair enough, right? That's what we're doing now. So we scaled it down to 185K for a series of 5 events by the same organizer. So in the past, we had multiple organizers. Now it's just one organizer, right? But different locations. So that's kind of, I kind of feel we're doing what people have asked for. And we still want to do this event series because we think it's important. But as you can see in OpenGov, it's once again struggling a little bit. So let me just address that a little bit. So Lunaxus and Saxonburg voted aye. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate this vote of confidence. The Coos was on nay, although I think now it's more on abstain again. Hasn't been updated yet. Lucky Friday is on nay, and Chaos DAO is on nay. I mean, for Chaos DAO, obviously we have a few Chaos DAO members here on the call, so let me address this just directly. I mean, obviously no surprise. I know you guys love naying stuff, but it's really unfortunate to see this, right? I mean, we're trying to do something for Polkadot here, and it's just these kind of blanket nays with like very generic comments. I mean, Chaos DAO left a comment here today, and I just want to read it because it's so funny in a way. They said some members question whether family offices will be beneficial to Polkadot at all, right? So let me just reassure you, it will be beneficial, right? That's the whole point of it. Family offices are, as I said, by definition, wealthy individuals or families with $50 to $100 million net worth. We're actively trying to get them to invest in the Polkadot ecosystem. I don't know how you're thinking about this, but why would this not be beneficial to Polkadot, right? I mean, we all want Polkadot to be successful. We want to see more funding becoming available for the Polkadot ecosystem. We all want to see the DOT price pump and getting more external funding into the Polkadot ecosystem is exactly what's going to achieve that. So that's my rant. Let me open the floor for questions.
All right, cool. I was Jose first.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Max. Good work, man. To answer that question about if it's beneficial or not, this is my point of view, right? I don't think we need any more whales, right? And that's kind of like where, the long-term, basically sustainability of Polkadot, it relies on less centralization from distribution, right? So, yeah, we do appreciate basically, all the activity that you are bringing, right?
Can I address it right away?
Yep. Yeah.
It's a great question.
We are running out of time.
Whales, right? So we're not trying to create new whale accounts here. We're not there just to sell DOT, right? And then have somebody buy $100 million worth of DOT. That's not what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to get this money, right? Either into our fund or into other ecosystem fund or directly to projects. And through our fund, it would then get invested in startups that are building on Polkadot, right? Here, everyone is complaining there's not enough funding for projects on Polkadot available. That's what we're trying to solve for. We're not trying to create more new DOT whale accounts.
Cool.
Nice.
Thanks,
That's an important distinction. Yeah, good. Tommy is next, real quick.
I want to speak for this proposal. Two things. So, two Chaos DAO feedbacks. The first one was it's unclear if the proposals are competent. I have seen them work in person at a family office event. They hosted a side event. People from those family offices went there and they had a good time. They had the conversations. Building those relationships takes time, and these guys are doing this, right? Okay, so this is number one. From the competency, I have them seen work the field. This is one data point, but it was a positive one. Second thing, the money that would enter that fund, it's $180,000. This is in the relation. This is not a lot of money that could do a lot of work, right? The money, if it enters the fund, it can go to builders. It can go to founders that would be starting new projects on Polkadot, right? So, and if a family office, if they want to invest, they invest, I don't know, a few $100,000, a few million, I don't know the exact sizes, but these would be a few $1 million entering the ecosystem for builders that then could build stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the downside is very minimal. It's $180,000, and the upside is very, very big because we have an active investment fund in the ecosystem. Also, Frankie, I would like to request your feedback on the proposal, please, if this is possible as a decentralized voice. Thank you.
Which one?
1337.
1337.
Oh yeah, no, that's coming tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Friday is when we always post all the feedback.
All right, Angie.
I was just going to say, I feel like this is an interesting, outsourced to experts, meaning this Prestel and Partners has a track record. They have relationships with family offices, and these are not whales, Jose, but to your comment, this is, I haven't even spoken to Max about this, but I saw the company and I looked into it. With 100 family offices that have $50 to $100 million, those family offices are going to be across every vertical. Right. So this is very much, even though wealthy families, it really does tap into, it feels like mass market. And if we can get those ears and educate on Polkadot, it feels like it could have ripple effects. And the idea that we have a company organizing it for us makes me feel much more confident because it's going to be efficient. They know what they're doing.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, Max, go ahead.
No, actually, no, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just add that obviously my anti-HIC bias is widely recognized and appreciated, but I do have to say as a dot holder and a peak whale that I would think that this is an easy win and a low risk win for the ecosystem. Obviously, this is addressing one of the biggest problems we have, and it just seems like a win all around. And I think with any clear thinking, this is an easy eye.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, and Kustow is abstained now, by the way, as you suggested.
Yep.
All right. Anybody else? Max?
Cool. No, that's it from my side. Hope we can still turn this around and then obviously get as many of you guys involved in actually executing this series once it's confirmed.
Cool. All right. We'll know by the time we come back from holiday. So good luck with this one, Max. And thanks very much for coming back on the show.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes the presentations for today. But maybe there's a few things to discuss real quick. I just want to open it up to the floor real quick and see if anybody has another ref they wanted to talk about. No? We're all good. Limo, you searching?
It's not Polkadot, but
What?
OpenGov on hydration soon.
Yes, OpenGov is coming to hydration. That's so exciting. What was it? Why are we finally pulling the trigger?
It's been on the cards for like a few months. Like I've had like IRL discussions about it because I'm part of the council. It's just the voter turnout is like 10% or more on like every referendum. The community seems to be making like pretty good decisions.
Yeah.
So it seems like a mature enough network to have OpenGov. All the tokens are like distributed pretty well. There's no like massive holders that can single-handedly like wreck everybody. So seemed like a pretty good time to do
it. That's good. Congratulations to the whole hydration DAO. That's awesome. Definitely be talking about that when we get back from break. A few topics I wanted to bring up. One, this was referenced by Andrew, and I do want to say I wasn't referencing the Connor Daly proposal when I put this up, but yesterday I was griping a little bit about the plague of long proposals, and this was after reviewing a few refs. Sometimes people run refs by me, and so often lately the feedback is always you got to cut the yap by 50 to 75%. Because somewhere in the ecosystem, there's some source of advice that people should just say as much as possible in proposals. And I laid out some reasons why this is not such a great idea. Increasing overhead for voters and curators, reducing participation, wasting treasury to pay curators to go over way too much information, obscuring objective, and hiding bad ideas. And this was actually in line with that bill that was killed in the U.S. yesterday, so that was kind of funny as well. But I wanted to open up to the floor. What do we think about proposal length and just general ways or general advice for people who want to submit to OpenGov? Limo.
Been saying this since AAG episode 12 or something. You need to keep it brief, especially at the start. Have like a high-level summary for people, especially if it's a technical proposal. Make it easy to understand first, and then get into like the weeds of it later on if you feel the need to have a 37-page referendum.
Yeah, good sound advice, Tommy. What about from the OpenGov.watch point of view?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing that Limo says. on the flip side, you can build this internal heuristic. Like if there is a lot of incomprehensible words in the beginning, where it's very likely going to be a bullshit proposal. And it's, yeah, you just need to nail the first page. If you don't nail the first page, you just lose a lot of people. And it's interestingly also in all of the consultations that I give, it's still my number one advice, because you still see it all the time coming in the proposal that doesn't make any sense when you read it, and it just takes forever to get to the point.
Yeah. Yeah, nice stuff. Yeah, I don't know where this advice is coming from for like, I mean, they all say like somebody told me to just say as much as possible. Like I don't understand. Tommy, is it coming from you?
I'm surprised that someone would be giving that advice.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think it really comes from, it was kind of like advice in the early days. It was like just cover all your bases, but it doesn't work practically in the situation that we're in right now. Okay, so that's interesting. The other thing I wanted to bring up today, and this is with Saxonburg. Now, Saxonburg is not. I mean, he's a non, or they're a non. It's a couple people, and so they never come on the show. And I just wanted to open up this discussion about kind of the trend I'm seeing. They're working really hard to keep bounties efficient and kind of establish what bounties are for in the ecosystem. They're closing a couple bounties, so they had some polls here on X for closing Bounty 27, which was the Parachain Assets on-ramp bounty by Jixi from Interlay. I think that this didn't go anywhere, and the general consensus, I think, was to close the bounty. Let's see here. Yeah, close the bounty. 100% of voters wanted to close the bounty. And the other one is the technical support bounty. Closing bounties for sure is a good idea when they're not working. Limo, you came up with a nice tutorial on how to stop future payouts, right, to bounties. And I think you used the marketing bounty as an example in your video. Is that right?
So I haven't done that one yet.
Oh, sorry.
It's like, yeah. In general, like, I've closed a bunch of bounties before.
Yeah.
If a bounty is no longer like operating or delivering on its scope, but the curators are just keep renewing it, but they're not really active, I think it's worth like forcing the question of should we close it. Like personally, for example, that assets on off ramp one, I think they managed to get banks there to support a bunch of parachains, but then I believe a lot of the team got busy on other stuff, and then the DeFi and infrastructure bounty kind of took over that scope. So it makes sense to close that one.
Yeah, nice. So we can close bounties, we can stop future payouts to bounties. Like this marketing bounty example I wanted to use was like they're getting 200,000 DOT per month. It might make sense in the future when DOT is $250 at the bottom of the next bear market that maybe that that income doesn't make sense, and we can change it. But yeah, Lee.
Yeah, so for those that haven't watched the video that I posted, there's like 2 ways to cancel future spends. So if you schedule payments on Asset Hub, use the Treasury void spend function. Is pretty easy. The way to do if a bounty has scheduled payments on the relay chain, because bounties only exist on the relay chain currently, it's like some other way of doing it. There's a lot different that I'll make a video about soon. But bounties in the not too distant future, hopefully, should be able to request stable coins and pay people out in stable coins. So all of this might change at some point because bounties typically negotiate with like service providers. And those service providers normally want a fixed amount of dollars. And this leads to issues with, like, let's say you pay for some CEX integration in DOT, and then they don't off-ramp it in time, and then the price changes. They either have too much money or too little money. One of them we're overpaying, the other one we underpay, and then we have to pay them again, for example. So yeah, but we need to understand as like a token holder community how to cancel scheduled payments, because for example with Robert's ref, which has like scheduled payments up front, let's say that it passed, and then let's say, and I'm not saying this would happen, that Robert and the team stop delivering, then we should be able to cancel those future payments. And this shouldn't be like a an information, a lack of information from like the average token holder, right? Same with like the Snowbridge ref and a bunch of other ones that have scheduled payments.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. What you bring up there with the how bounties don't have stablecoin, the ability to manage stablecoins yet. This is in one way, and I'm sorry that Saxonbergs can't be on the show and defend themselves here, but I want to push a little bit back against what some of Saxonberg's kind of like really strong opinions here on using bounties. It seems like they're kind of really interested in using bounties as a budgeting mechanism. And I think that in theory, this will make sense possibly in the future when bounties can manage stablecoins. But bounties as budgeting mechanisms right now, it practically, pragmatically, it just doesn't make any sense at all because the capital that they have to deal with as far as paying for goods and services goes is constantly fluctuating. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's leading to some strange suggestions. For instance, he's pretty harsh on the marketing bounty here, the scope of the marketing bounty, and there's discussions of like even micro Polkadot focused content creators should belong under the marketing bounty, but the marketing bounty comes and says, well, we actually don't have the manpower to manage little things. We should be dealing with only big things. But then Saxonberg's argument is no, it should all come in under the marketing bounty. Otherwise, it expands the budget for marketing in general in the ecosystem. I think this is like ideological and not so practical, and therefore not very helpful with where we are right now. But Lima, what do you want to say?
Yeah, so you can at a high level think that the marketing bounty has taken over the entire like parity Marcoms department that used to exist, basically, like most of it. And we only have like, what is it, like 5 or 6 people doing it at the moment. I know that Crane, Yiba, and Evan and Eric and stuff are doing like quite a lot of work, but it's probably a lot of work for that amount of people. To review every single micro influencer is insane to get these people to do that, right? Like, for example, like I'll use myself as the example. If you have less engagement than me, you should not be going to the marketing bounty. That is like the dumbest thing ever, and they shouldn't have to deal with you, right? We want these people doing like bigger ticket things, like getting, for example, massive releases, let's say the Nova debit card into like publications and stuff, so that the wider crypto scene sees that there's like a debit card on Polkadot, right? Yeah, I think the criticism is pretty bad. And also, if the curators then start spending like way too much money, let's say the dot price goes up, not financial advice, and they have a real lot of money at hand, and they start being like reckless and paying for what's the one we use, the logo on a private jet. You will see that because it's very transparent and it's all going to be logged, and you're going to be able to see what they spent money on. You just remove the curators. It's really not difficult.
Yeah, nice. Tommy.
Yeah, a few things. So first of all, I think the consideration should not be about the size of the asks, but rather about the impact. So for example, Cheaper made this, he got this small proposal passed, which is about hiring an editor for the Wikipedia article of Polkadot, right? Yeah. If that goes through, it has a high impact because there's just a lot of use on the article, right? But the ask size is small, it's a very small ticket. So I think we should not just consider the price, but also the impact. But yeah, the work is a consideration, and ideally, so personally, I think ideally everything should go through the marketing bounty, but that's should not be enforced, right? I think that should rather be a consensus. But if you want to go to OpenGov, you should go to OpenGov, right? You should have good reasons. But for that to work, the marketing bounty needs to have a lot of staff that can handle all of those things. Thankfully, we have a very good network of not only the marketing bounty, but for example, small content creators would ideally go to WAG Media, right? So there's also an address where you can point people to. And WAG Media is an entity that can handle small content creators and is also funded by OpenGov, right? So yeah, I think it's about structuring things and putting them in a place where everything can run more efficient. One last thing. Marketing bounty is also, they started hiring, I don't know how they call it, like interns or operators or something, but basically they hire a few people to operate those specific projects. So yeah, I think they're like slowly increasing in size to get more stuff done.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's good to remember too. It's early days too. It's not like we start a bounty and therefore everything, immediately moves over. We have to be practical. And yeah, to your point on your show, I think even Evan was saying maybe even WAG Media eventually becomes part of Marketing Bounty, but it's like this sub. Um, it's like they're contracted to deal with these smaller pieces. Yeah, Limo.
Okay, so here's a task for Tommy or for anyone. Give specific examples of where you feel like the marketing bounty has like not responded to somebody that you really feel like should have been responded to or funded by them. You can see. So my concern is, for example, the events bounty has to deal with a lot of people that ask the most insane amount of money for like zero impact, basically. So they will near them because it's like it's just way like out of line how much they're requesting for like how many people are going to be there or the impact it has, right? So give specific examples of where they should have funded something and they just like ignored it, right? Because people will always foot. You see this with every single bounty or even OpenGov itself. If Chaos Style votes no on OpenGov, we're the worst people in the world. If you don't get funded by the events bounty, there's like political reasons and it's because of this, that, and the other, right? So give specific examples so that we can all like assess it, because don't just listen to like random people on Twitter like complaining about something. Like we need to be able to assess the stuff that we feel like they should have approved, because otherwise we're just it's like never gonna improve, right?
Tommy.
I think there's also an advantage of putting proposals first to the marketing bounty, then the marketing bounty people can eat all the unnecessary proposals, and at OpenGov, the general voting tracks, we don't have to read all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm fairly confident that if something didn't get approved by the marketing bounty and went to OpenGov, it would be rejected as well. Like I'm very confident.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. I mean, bounties can help a lot, but we need to use them practically and pragmatically. We can't just have philosophy. We need to make sure things keep moving. And yeah, it's cool to watch them develop. We submitted our proposal to Marketing Bounty. It's the same thing that we said we would do in our OpenGov proposal. And that's exciting there. We kind of have a system where it's like week by week and they only pay after it's done. But we'll have to see what they come back with there. And then I think I hear rumbles that Distractive is ready to submit as well to Marketing Bounty. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that's negotiated and comes out. Should be cool. But anyway, guys, thanks for that. Anything else we want to discuss before we look at refs that we've been covering on the show? Yeah, Jose?
Yeah, this is like a little bit like in a tangent, right? But all these events, they have like a infrastructure, like a booth, right? And they pay for that. Sometimes they rent it, but I think we're buying some of that. Can that be reused somehow? Because the cost of setting up a booth in a trade show is huge, infrastructure-wise. But if we already pay for that, can we reuse that? And if that's the case, who do we contact? Because right, there are teams doing it, and I don't know who they are. So,
interesting suggestion, Limo.
Wait, I missed the first part. So when we pay for a booth, you're talking about like repurposing it at future events?
That's right. That's right. Like basically trade show booth signage and all that kind of assets that we already have, can be reused. We don't need to basically create it 3, 4, 5, 7 times, right? We can put it in a plane, in a crate, and send it instead of paying $80,000, $120,000 for a booth, right?
You'd probably have to do like some cost analysis of like how much it costs to store it and then transport it versus getting it new for every event, right? Like for example, in like London when I did the event, like the lovely parity team have like banners and stuff that I could use. So it could be worth potentially like leaving banners or whatever with ecosystem agents in different areas to reuse. But yeah, that's for like the bigger, like the entire booth is probably going to be quite a lot to store it and ship it around, right?
Yeah, well, but I think these companies, the companies who do the trade shows, they also have the storage and the shipping, right? So they will go global for it, right? I mean, because you're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in a booth, right? In the infrastructure itself per show. So, and all that can be reused. And I'm thinking, who is doing that? Because someone can probably be doing that, right?
Jose, it's you. It's you have to do it.
Don't have time.
We look. We don't have time for more ideas. If you got to execute on this. Do you
I
have
mean,
room
you
in
can
your garage?
also
Sorry, Lee.
you can also
Yeah, he's gotta
argue
do it.
that Polkadot paying for like the, let's say, the platinum package at every event is probably not the thing that we should be doing, and we should probably go for more modest booths at some events. Obviously, there might be times where we want to get the bigger package, but doing that all the time, based on some stuff I've seen at some events, we probably shouldn't be doing that, right? We should probably go for like a smaller one at certain events.
Yeah, we're talking about big events, 75,000 people going through it from Wave 2. I think we need to be there, not probably with a 20 by 20, but or a 10 by 10, but probably with a 20 by 20, right? So yeah.
James?
Jose, I can't speak for others, but I mean, that's already happening on a small scale, like here locally. Like I have banners and signs that were printed and paid for through the treasury. We used them in Texas. I brought them back to Florida. The ones that we already had here in Florida, we use at all of our events here. So that's happening on a small scale. But good point. I think for larger events like Denver, we can work with the respective people to figure out how to best utilize those assets.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from everyone is basically launch something within your community, have the assets, and basically land the assets to anyone around who will be getting a use of it, right? So
yeah. I literally have boxes of T-shirts and banners and crap in my garage that I haul out for every event.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to send you some Connor Daly stuff.
Do it. Bring it on.
All right, we're good. Let's look at some refs that are going to be developing while we're gone. Critical runtime upgrade to prevent further exploitation. Still queuing on the root track, but has swung since Yubo's participation in last week's show. Not many votes yet. 1.34 million on the I side there for this root track ref. Yeah, Lee.
So as far as I know, a few people are abstaining. I think Chaos Style is. If I haven't checked the ref in like the past few days, but it'd be really, 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 really good for members of the Polkadot Technical Fellowship to like attest that the proposed new runtime doesn't do anything weird, because it's probably quite difficult for most people to verify that.
Yeah.
I have had conversations with some fellowship members, but it would be great for them to like clearly state that like they have checked it and they don't see anything amiss with it, right? Because some people are concerned that might be something in there that we don't want in there. Yeah.
Were you? What did you think about the answer to that strange Binance wallet situation? Was that satisfying to you, or?
There's two things that can be. The first one is that the attacker did it as a red herring, like on purpose.
Like
so he sacrificed like 40 grand's worth of DOT and sent it to the Team Binance account. Or, and I'm not saying that this is it, I don't know which one it is, right? Or somebody messed up and accidentally sent it to the wrong Binance account that they have access to. Either one, don't know which one it is.
So either
surprised that the audit that they had did not find that, by the way. That's something that if Chaos Style on a Friday night when we're a bit drunk can find that, the audit that you paid for, if they don't find that link, it's a bit sus.
So it's either the attacker trying to throw people off the trail, or it's an inside job.
Yeah, and there's a few things like this with some other stuff that's gone on, where there's like one link, but you need like more than one link. Otherwise, it's it could just be like a red herring.
Yeah.
Not just with this parallel stuff, but other stuff in the eco. But yeah, so it's either a red herring and we like fully trust the team, or it's maybe something sketchy. The way that the attack went down seems like somebody quite technical did it, and they seem to have a lot of information about the parallel team themselves and the backstory. So all of that's a bit sus as well. Like, so but this is all speculation, right? In general, if somebody from the fellowship can attest that like they have checked the runtime and everything's like above board, then I think people will just put eye on it, because it's good that they get pseudo back and people can get the dots back. But right now, people are a bit iffy voting aye, just because it's difficult for us to validate the runtime, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on. We have this Ref 1346 that we discussed. This is the token terminal, the 1 million USDT. I threw a comment of support behind this one here, even though my vote is tied to Kustau, and Kustau is currently nay. I really think people should take another look at this one. I'm seeing this as basically their Polkadot interpreters. They're going to take the confusing ecosystem of Polkadot and make the data standardized. This is 1346. Turn it into data that the rest of the industry is using. Obviously, we're very misunderstood by the broader industry. Token Terminal has been a great partner. They have a lot of big institutions use their data, and this is just a home run for me. I don't get the pushback, and no real feedback from DV yet, so that would be nice too. Yeah, Lee, did you have a comment? No. Yeah. Anyway, I do encourage people to take another look at this. Seems like a major win to me. But I'm just one. We have.
Do we know if the Parity Data team said anything on this?
Yeah, Parity Data team is working closely with them. They're the first comment here. We're excited to support this proposal as it represents a significant step forward for the Polkadot ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it.
This should be an aye.
I think so. Limo.
Yes, so now I remember. So I saw something about like the prioritized chains at one point, and there was some like Manta and Nodal that are like leaving the eco, being like relatively high up in priority. But as far as I know, some ecosystem agents have like reached out to the token terminal team and the Parity Data team to like inform them of this, right, and like help them go in the right direction. In general, I think this is pretty good though. Like,
Yeah.
am I on this?
I actually think that was the last proposal, and that was all worked out in the last proposal. But maybe not.
Maybe yeah, that could be my bad.
Yeah. Well, okay, we'll take a look at it. Anyway, definitely something that can be switched up here. But okay, what else we have? With Remy's wish for change. Pikey?
Just regarding the token terminal, I guess the story is compelling, but what I see in other with other refs, when the price is very high, most people miss. And you talked about very long refs, the miss of sales skills, and what I missed in the last session we had when they presented their benefits, etc. Giving the people some kind of comparison to the industry prices, right? Because when I look at it, I see 1 million. The price is, the story itself is good, but I'm not sure, is it expensive? Is it not expensive? So it's very difficult, and there are a lot of people and voters who cannot relate it to something, you know? So yeah, having there some kind of help, I don't know. Hopefully you get it what I mean, but yeah, that's why I'm struggling there as well, giving an A, right? It's not about the benefits, more about the price. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. I think interpreting Polkadot for major players who understand other types of data would be good. But let's see how that goes over the holidays. We have Remy's wish for change for Polkadot branding guideline, 100% in favor for this, though low voter turnout because I think TVs don't have votes on this one, right? Lee?
Is it wish for change?
Yeah.
I think we do know.
Oh.
I think. How long ago was it posted? It was
just 6 days, 9 hours, so they might come in soon.
Yeah, like a lot of DVs use the bot, right?
Yeah.
The opinion on this is good, but needs to be enforced. For example, like we mentioned before, the IBP enforces that you can get free RPCs if you mention Polkadot on your like website and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's just providing the sufficient like carrot for people to do it, right?
Wish for change, such an odd track. Big Spender Incubator 2.0. This is change of curators for Bounty 19. This is looking to save a bounty that was floundering. Yeah, 99.5% in favor here with almost 44 million votes on the I side. That's going to enter confirmation in 10 days. Also, retroactive funding for the PVM debugger. This was the 16,000 USDT and 100% in favor for the 64 million on the I side. Holy moly, Lee.
Yeah, it seems really cheap for what it is. I was pretty impressed with them on the show. And somebody that I won't say who, I don't want to embarrass them. They were having issues with like not getting like error messages properly and stuff. So this seems pretty decent, especially for 16 grand.
Yeah, nice to see. Tip for Don Diego Sanchez and Lucy for their work setting up the ambassador program. Those dot tips on the small spender track, 42.7% in favor here. And what do we have? 9 days remaining. This one's tight. 25.5 million on the nay side to 19 on the aye. So looking for 6.5 million votes to put this over the line. I guess we'll see what happens there for Christmas. Yeah, Lee.
Like we said last week, if this fails, I would maybe suggest that they go again, but request for a vested dot. And I haven't seen anybody do the guide on how to do that yet, so
It's
I
not
guess
possible. It's not
I have
possible
to
yet,
do
I
it.
heard.
It's not possible.
No,
Is it not possible
without
yet?
trust. No, without trust.
Ooh,
Yeah, we figured that out. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
damn,
Yeah, Tommy,
bearish.
we're gonna get to Angie in a second, but Tommy, do you have alternate information on that?
No, but vested dot is an instrument if someone is going to perform work and you want to make sure that they're aligned in the work that they do with the future interest. If the work is already performed, vesting dot doesn't make sense.
I think they should come back and just ask for stables, even if it's more. But yeah, let's check on that, Lee. But I think it's not possible yet, which is crazy. Angie?
I was going to say something similar, which is the work has already been performed. It was already successful. It seems like this is a clear one on payment that is vested.
Just to make sure this isn't my opinion, it was just if people are voting there, it might be something that might swing
No,
them
I
to
got it.
Yeah, Pikey.
Rationally speaking, I would agree. But again, we're talking about selling something, right? Selling my effort from the past. And if I can put half of it in a vested dot, I'm also saying with that, I'm stay engaged. It's not a one shot from my side, but I stay engaged. And even it's just 20% of overall, Yeah.
Totally. All right. Sorry for the dings on the show here. I'm getting text messages. Okay, I don't know who did the new Apple iOS update, but let's fire that whole team. My phone is just a freaking mess now. Nothing is working. My do not disturb's not working. I'm getting it's awful. We're gonna fire that whole team and open a bounty for iOS and get it done right. Okay, that's it for refs on the go here. A couple of confirmations. Polkadot storage. Ooh, so this was a struggle. This was a battle. 1.9 million USDT came out on the I side here. 58% in the confirmation period. Who came in? Big bags. 15.6U and 12K are the two big I voters here that came in last minute with, what is that, 34 million on the I side. So it looks like they were saved here, and they have 5 days, 15 hours remaining in this long march of confirmation, 7-day confirmation. And the other one is closing the BD bounty. I think this was opened originally by Giotto in that strategy where we have a lot of curators and then we whittle it down, but this never ended up getting off the ground. So here's Saxonberg with a 100% in favor of closing the BD bounty there. And that's the show. Yeah, just to respond to the comments here, this isn't the last show ever, but it is the last show of 2024 because we're going to take a wee break. I mean, who are we kidding? We're obviously going to have private AAGs. If you want the link, let us know. But we're going to be off the air until January 2nd, which will be another Polkadot show. And yeah, it's tough. It's honestly tough to let go. We have a great time. If you didn't catch the Monday show, there were some pretty epic clips from that one that we've released on the Coos there. Something about privacy preserving TEE networks or something like that, worth checking out. But yeah, thanks everybody for your participation in attempting governance this year. Thanks to all of our recurring guests on the panel. Always lovely to have you back. And to everybody in the chat, we appreciate your contributions to making this governance happen. Also, people who have been listening on their favorite podcast platforms. It's been remarkable to see how many listeners are actually taking in this show while they're cooking or going for a jog or whatever it is. We are so grateful for your participation. You can't buy this participation. No other ecosystem is going to be able to drop a $200 million grant and get people watching a show like this. It really is a testament to our ecosystem's commitment to navigating these Web3 waters from the human perspective. And yeah, we're so happy to be of service with this platform here. Everybody have a great holiday season. I know it's a super holiday with what is it? Hanukkah and Christmas starting on the same day. That's pretty cool. Have a great New Year's. Be safe. And we'll see you all back here on the 2nd for AAG number 194. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye-bye.